So what we're going to talk about now is we're going to talk about multiple step dooflachies. Okay. So for instance, let's say you want to convert 26.2 miles to kilometers. Now, I know you could Google the conversion from miles to kilometers, but that's not what we're doing. We're learning how to do dooflachies. Okay. So what we're going to do, I didn't give you a conversion directly from miles to kilometers. All right. What I did give you is I gave you a conversion from either miles to yards, or I gave you conversion from miles to feet. Okay. So now here's the thing about this. There's more than one way to do this. Okay. So just because you and your buddy do it two different ways, that doesn't mean that one of you is wrong. Okay. There's more than one way to do it if you still do everything that you're supposed to do. The first thing you got to do is you got to set up your units, just like with any dooflachi, okay? Except instead of just having one step, okay, instead of just stopping right here, you've got multiple steps you got to do. So first, I'm going to convert miles to yards. Okay? Again, there's different ways to do this. All right, so I'm going to convert miles to yards so that miles cancels out and leaves me with yards. Then I'm going to convert yards to meters. So the yards cancels out and leaves it with meters. Okay, and then finally, I'm going to convert meters to kilometers. All right, so that the only unit left standing is kilometers. All right, now, don't get ahead of yourself. Don't start putting numbers in until you have your units in the right place, because that's what's going to tell you where your numbers go. All right, so yards and miles, well, that conversion is 1,760 yards in 1 mile, which again, I will give you that, okay? Yards to meters, that conversion is 1.094 yards in 1 meter. Make sure the 1.094 goes on yards, okay? And then meters to kilometers, kilo means 1,000. So that goes down here. Meter is the base unit, which means 1. That goes up there. Because that's a metric conversion, you got to switch where those numbers go. Okay? Multiply across the top, divide by the bottom, and you get 42.1 kilometers. Okay? You can make these things as many steps as you need to get from the unit that you have to the unit that you're trying to find. Okay, you can make them as many steps as you need to. All right, there's no limit. And again, there's more than one way to do them. Next thing I want to talk about, next type of multiple step problem, uses what's called derived units. Okay, notice we have 35.6 meters per second. Well, that's not just one unit. That's a couple different units combined together. It's meters divided by seconds. And where the unit comes from is dividing meters by seconds. That's a derived unit. Okay? Now, what does 35.6 meters per second mean? Well, it means in 1 second, how far do you go? You go 35.6 meters, right? That's what meters per 1 second means. So, the way that you would put that into your dooflachi, that's where this bottom box comes in. There's 35.6 meters in 1 second. All right? That's where this bottom box is going to come in, is with a derived unit. Okay? Then, what you have to do is you have to convert each one of those things separately. For instance, first, we have to convert meters to miles. So again, first we're going to convert meters to yards. Then we're going to convert yards to miles because we know those conversions. Then you got to flip it around, okay? And you got to convert seconds to hours. Now notice, seconds is in the denominator here. So where do you need to put it over here if it's going to go away? If it's in the denominator, you got to put it in the numerator if you want it to cancel. So you're going to put seconds on top and minutes on the bottom. Okay, now if you know the conversion from seconds to hours, you can go straight from seconds to hours. Again, more than one way to do these. All right. And then you're going to convert minutes to hours. So look what you have. Meters cancels, yards cancels, and you're left with miles. Seconds cancels, minutes cancels, and you're left with hours on the bottom. What are you trying to find? Miles on the top, hours on the bottom. So if you plug in your numbers correctly to this, you'll find the number of miles per hour. Okay, so meters and yards, 1.094 yards in 1 meter. Okay, miles and yards, 1 mile is 1,760 yards. Seconds and minutes, 60 seconds in a minute, and 60 minutes in an hour. Now, all you got to do, multiply across the top, multiply everything on the top, divide by everything on the bottom. Now, you don't need to multiply and divide by 1 because that doesn't change the number. Okay? But here's the thing. Here's the thing. Then you got to round to significant figures. Now, significant figures here. Remember, 1 is considered an exact number, infinite number of significant figures. Okay? Miles to yards. Miles to yards. It's an English to English, imperial to imperial conversion. That is exact. So that has an infinite number of significant figures. Now, this is meters to yards. Metric, imperial. So there, you've got to look at this. This has 4 significant digits. Here, 1 is exact. 35.6 meters is not exact. That has 3 significant digits. This is exact, so it has infinite. This is exact, so it has infinite. So all you got to do is keep the least number of significant figures. Keep 3 significant figures. So multiply across the top, divide by the bottom, round to 3 significant figures, and include a unit, and you end up with 79.7 miles per hour. You'd better slow down. Okay? So those are multi-step problems, both single units and derived units. All right. We will have some practice with that. Okay. And we will do lots of these and get lots better at it.